I would like to give you an introduction to the homeowners policy, which is so important to everyone. Now, I assume that most of you are students taking the licensing exam to get a property insurance license, but whoever you are, you need to know the basics of the homeowners policy. I've got the textual chapter here, but before we look at the text and start highlighting it, let me give you an overview of the homeowners policy that is HO. First of all, no bank is going to give you a loan to buy a house unless you've got a homeowners policy. The bank wants you to have at least what's called an HO3. And an HO3 gives you two coverages. On the structures, the house, the garage, etc., you've got great coverage. You've got what's sometimes called all risk, that is special coverage. It covers pretty much everything that could happen to the house except for the biggies of flood and earthquake. So you need separate flood and earthquake insurance. Other than that, on the structures, you've got not perfect, but as good as it gets in America, coverage on the structures. Then on your personal property, furniture, clothing, all of that sort of thing, the homeowners policy gives you what's called broad form coverage. Now that's not quite as good as it gets in America, so there are some exclusions there, some things that aren't covered. For example, if a bear breaks into your house and tears up the interior, that's not covered on the personal property section of the policy, but the damage to the house caused by the bear to the structure would be covered under the all risk special coverage, which is better than this broad form coverage. So if you think about it, what the bank wants you to do is have great coverage on their collateral that they can foreclose on, which is the house, and they don't much care about the coverage on your personal property. Now, we all care. So what we tend to do is pay a couple extra bucks a year and move up from broad form on the personal property to what is called special coverage on the personal property. And the special coverage is that all risk coverage, and we get that with an HO5. So the best coverage for a homeowner is the HO5. Now, this is one part of the homeowner's policy, covering the structures and the personal property. As a lawyer and a professor, from my point of view, the more important part of this policy is the coverage for liability. So there's what is called Section 2 of the homeowner's policy. And Section 2 provides lawsuit coverage, that is liability coverage. So, for example, a friend of mine was on a rafting trip with another friend, and the raft overturned and one of the wives was injured, and she sued the guy who owned the raft. Well, that was covered under his homeowner's policy. So the homeowner's policy hired the lawyers, the expert witnesses, defended the lawsuit, and paid the claim. Now, in America, a problem with this Section 2 liability coverage is it starts out with most companies as providing only $100,000 worth of coverage, which is why we all want to get this umbrella policy, and the umbrella provides better coverage. So most people get a $2 million umbrella, which might cost only a couple, $300 a year. So the first $100,000 is covered by the homeowners. The next $2 million is covered by the umbrella. So that's an overview of the homeowner's policy. So we have this coverage on the property. We have all risk coverage on the structure. We have broad form coverage on the personal property. If we have the HO form 3, if we have the HO5, then we get special coverage. But key exclusions under the homeowner's policy will be floods and earthquake. no coverage for that. But I personally don't have very many friends whose homes have burned down, so I'm not too concerned about the property coverage. I'm more concerned about Section 2, the liability coverage, where somebody slips and falls on their sidewalk, they're skiing down the ski hill too fast and hit somebody and get sued, they're throwing the frisbee in the park and hit a child with a frisbee, they're coaching the Little League soft baseball team and one of the players gets hurt and they get sued. So I think that Section 2 is more important. So understanding this basic overview, we can now go into the textbook and start highlighting the key points on the homeowner's policy, as well as reviewing the test questions. So that's what we do here at americasprofessor.com. Our goal is to prepare you for the licensing exam for the state insurance test.